And joining me right now here on a Friday to go over the weekend fishing report is the busiest man I know in Brevard County. I just asked him off air, hey, what do you got going on this weekend? He's like, what don't I have going on this weekend? He is Damon with Spacefish. My man, how you doing today?
What is up, brother? Living the dream, man. How you doing, bud?
I like we both have the facial hair where it's got the gray. Do we need just for men where Walt Frazier and Keith Hernandez show up? Is that what we need?
Hey, I'm not gonna lie. I've contemplated it before. I'm like, man, maybe I should touch these grays up a little bit. But then, you know how it is. They're coming in like weeds. You can't stop them. So when that stuff wears away, I'm gonna look like Santa Claus. You know?
Well, maybe these fish in the ocean, maybe they won't care. But the people, so here's what we usually do. If you're new to the show, Damon joins me every Friday to go over the weekend fishing report. So, my man, I'm going to bring this up. I know we start with offshore. Take it away, Damon.
Yeah, so let's start with weather, because obviously offshore is 100% predicated on the weather, and the weather is going to be. Now, when I say the weather is going to be great, what I mean by that is we're in that summer pattern, Mark, where it's typically low winds. They're out of the south, predominantly out of the south this weekend, probably a little bit out of the southwest, a little bit out of due south. It's going to be hot because we're in those summer months, man, where it's just hot right now. And as of, and really over the next week and a half, I was kind of looking out on the forecast too. It looks like we're going to start to get more. We had this kind of dry spell with rain, but it looks like we're kind of settling into those summer patterns where we're looking at 50 to 60% chance of like afternoon thunderstorms now. So the key is when you're fishing summer, and it's not just offshore, it's really anywhere, but since we're talking offshore, is get out early, right? Be out there at daybreak, which means you're starting your day early. You want to be on the water at daybreak. Catch your fish, get off the water before it gets just too hot, and get back so you can beat these storms back. So this weekend offshore looks fantastic. I mean, it should be, when I say flat calm, it should feel like it's flat calm out there this weekend, which is great because there's some good fishing going on right now. This past week, the reefs particularly were very good, and I did see a couple reports of people running out a little farther than that and catching some dolphin. Now they're not here in good numbers or anything like that, but they got a few, and they're a little bit of size to them. But as far as offshore, so this is from Captain Chris Cameron, and basically what he was saying, he said live bunker. Now we call them pogies down here. If you're from up north, they call them bunker. There's the same thing, but he says if you can find them before running offshore, load up the live well. The key is you got to look diligently. So he's basically saying that they're catching pogies. They could be in the port, inside the port basin. It could be up around Cocoa Beach Pier or even further south down toward the steeple. But he said, once you get live bait, run out to the reefs, 75 feet, start slow trolling those baits. And they're catching a lot of fish right now. I mean, they had a really good week this week, Mark. Lots of kingfish. There's some cobia mixed into that, and there's still some sailfish caught this week. And even like the occasional dolphin is getting caught in that area as well. So offshore has been really, really good this week. So that's, what you want to do to target offshore. Nearshore, so obviously our nearshore fishery, this is from Captain Glenn Austin. He was basically saying the water has been plenty calm enough, which we know because we're talking about calm, lower winds, along the beaches to get out there. He said there's some tarpon and jacks and some kingfish mixed in around these bait schools. There's even been some snook up close to the beach around the trough. But he said, and there's a lot of bait, particularly down around Sebastian, north and south of the inlet. He said, but the water's been pretty clean, but overall there's this thermocline that we're dealing with, and that's this cold water upwelling that we get in the summertime, and it's still lingering around a little bit, so it doesn't have those fish quite as active as they normally would be. Hopefully that kind of dissipates and moves away here over the next week or two, and then that'll really, really turn that nearshore fishery on. He said things are kind of running a little bit further behind than they normally are, but the fish are here. It's just they just got to really these cold waters just got to settle down a little bit and they fire up.
We're here with Damon with spacefish.com. Yeah, submit. This is very key. Submit your photos or your questions. You can do all that through my website, markmosleyshow.com, or especially spacefish.com. All right, shall we go to the surf, my friend?
Yeah, buddy. One of my favorite areas to fish. I love fishing off the beach. It's great when you have little kids, especially because you can keep everybody entertained. But this is from Nick, Cocoa Beach Fishing Center. And he's got his finger on the pulse. This guy he's dialed in. He says the summer heat is starting to show up, and the fish are definitely feeling it. The baby sharks love it though. So basically, long story short, the surf isn't that great right now for surf fishing. There are catching some whiting. There's a lot of little sharks. There's some catfish mixed in. The waves are low. And because the waves are low, there's not a ton of current, and you don't need those big Sputnik sinkers to hold ground. You can hold them with the traditional 3-ounce pyramid sinker right now, at 4 ounce if you really want to boost it up. But the surf has just been a little bit off, and it goes back to that thermocline that I was talking about. The water's a little chilly up around the beach, but as soon as that goes away, I'd imagine we're going to see some good catches of the whiting. Really should pick back up. There'll still be the sporadic pompano, black drum. We've actually saw a few black drum being caught this past week, so all that should really start to get a little bit better when this thermocline moves away. And then the snook bite and the tarpon bite too. That's another thing. So the snook bite this time of year is typically pretty good. Catching these fish off the beach because they're here to spawn. They're moved out on the beach to spawn. And you'll get those tarpon up close to the beach, particularly in the morning or even late evening when they're feeding on those baits that are pushing up against the beach. You can catch all that from the shore, which is exciting. Sharks too, all that good stuff. So I would imagine once this thermocline moves off, we should see a little more activity in the surf. So our lagoons. The lagoons have been very, very consistent, particularly in the morning. And this is what Captain Glenn had mentioned again. He said, the pre-dawn bite. So this is the time of year you want to be on the water at daybreak because you want to be looking for bait that's working around structure. So you can't miss the bait. If the water's calm, which it is, just look. You'll see these little ripples on top of the water. That's bait moving. And what you want to do is you want to find this bait that's moving around any type of structure, whether it be a spoil island, mangroves, docks, or just over flats in general. And the fish are going to be following this bait. That's the breakfast buffet, basically. And man, it's an awesome way to catch these fish by targeting them first thing in the morning with like topwater lures. Spoons is another. I grew up throwing spoons, gold and silver spoons. That's a great way to target these fish. So there's a lot of different ways you can fish for them. Trout and snook have been predominantly the main catches, but there's jacks and some redfish mixed in if you want to soak some dead bait down on the bottom and stuff like that. So yeah, the lagoon has been real consistent, but it's an early morning bite.
We're here with Damon with Spacefish.com. I know we got one more. The freshwater for this weekend. What's going on, Damon?
Yeah, this is my man Captain Terry Lemieux, and he basically said he got out and fished Stick Marsh this week. He said it was slow. We've had this really, really awesome run of like these early morning shad explosions where, again, early morning, the shad daybreak, they're all over the place, so they're catching the heck out of bass on top water. He said that's slowing down a little bit. He said it might just be a combination of the full moon, and then we have this Bermuda high, which is just a high pressure area that pushes down the pressure, basically what it is. And he's also the water levels are coming down. But the day that he fished, they still caught 14 bass. Had a pretty good day overall. A lot of those bass came on top water first thing in the morning, trying to fish these shad schools. So, again, the theme of summer is, like I mentioned, get out early, get back early, beat the heat. The fish shut down when it gets hot typically. So, man, beautiful thing is there's still the summer fishing is still good overall. So there's plenty of stuff to fish for.
Great stuff. Let's get to the photos. That's what the people really want. Forget you and me.
Yeah.
They don't want to see our faces. They want to see themselves here on the Fisher Report. So let's bring up, I think this is Terry first. Oh, what's this, buddy?
So check that out. So that when I talk about him fishing the shad, the shad, topwater shad bite, he literally caught 2 bass on that topwater lure. That's how aggressive they are when they're feeding on these shad first thing in the morning. And man, that was just a cool photo because he literally caught 2 bass on one plug, which is amazing.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I can't get 1. This guy's got 2. That's pretty good. That really is. All right. Is this Glenn? What's this?
This is Glenn, and he's talking about, again, the snook bite in the lagoon has been really good. These are a couple of his clients that they had a double up, man. They both caught one at the same time. So that's a cool thing to do when you have a couple people on your boat and they both hook up and you're able to get a double like that, a photo like that. It's really awesome.
Okay, I'm going to put you on the spot. It's beyond hot right now, but look at their outfits. So if you are not a fisherman and you're interested, I want to get out there this summer. Is that perfect attire, though, in this extreme heat to be wearing something like that?
So if it were me, I probably wouldn't be wearing the pants, but I'm a Florida guy. I'd be in a pair of shorts, possibly sandals, possibly, the key is right now is just protecting yourself from the sun. And that's what these guys are doing. Like, even if I'm going out and I'm wearing shorts, like, man, I'm putting sunblock on and all that other stuff on my legs. I am wearing a long sleeve shirt. I usually have a buff or something that's covering my neck. or my face. It was like at this point in time in the day, you can see the sun back there. They're already feeling it. You can tell because the guy's got the towel over the back of his neck trying to keep the sun from burning him up. So, like, it's just that's just how it is down here in the summer. So, yeah, not bad attire. I prefer shorts. I totally get what these guys are trying to do. They're just trying to protect themselves from the sun because it's ripping right now. And so not bad, not bad.
So you have the farmer's tan. That's what you're saying, right? That's what you got right now. All right, let's go to Nick. All right, let's look at this photo. Oh, those are beautiful fish. What are those exactly, Dave?
Yeah, so those are black drum, and these were caught from the surf. You see the beach behind them, the breaks behind them, and man, that's awesome. Now, I don't know if the one on the left is necessarily a keeper, but the one on the right definitely is. And you know, man, that's if you're going to eat a black drum, keep and eat a black drum. That's about the size you want them to be. Anything over that, they kind of get a little tough. But those are great. Those are great fish. And man, I tell you what, the one on the right, I guarantee that was an amazing fight in bringing that fish in the surf.
You are absolutely right. All right, what is this next photo we got, Damon?
Yeah, this is Captain Chris Fired Up Charter. So when we were talking about these guys targeting the reefs and what they're catching, cobia is one of them. There's definitely been like an increase in cobia this week, which was really exciting to see. Kingfish are usually what they're targeting, and sailfish is one of those bycatches. Cobia is kind of a bycatch, even though they know they're there and they're targeting them a little bit, down riggers and stuff like that. Get the bait down in the water column. But this is a cobia. These are hard fighting fish. They're delicious to eat. And it's just a killer picture, man. This guy, you can just see he's all fired up about that.
He is. And by the way, I think you and me need to grow that beard. That's what we need to do. That's a great beard. I love it. All right. One more, I believe. What do you got here, buddy?
Yeah, so this is our nearshore fishery, and this is what I talk about nearshore. You can look behind this guy and see he's up against the beach, and this is a big jack that Captain Glenn put his client on. So when I talk about the tarpon and the jack, that's what I'm talking about, that type of jack. And let me tell you something. That fish, pound for pound, is probably one of the best fighting fish in the ocean. That is a tackle buster right there. That thing will absolutely wear you out. And it's just a killer fish, big fish, killer photo. You can see the calm water behind him. That's what we're going to be looking at most of the summer, when you run up and down the beach in the morning. And it's just a great, man, killer fish.
And it's a great photo. They're all great photos. And if you want to submit your photo, do it to Damon with spacefish.com. He wants to hear from you with your great pictures. All right, before I let you go, should we go fishing this week?
You know it, buddy. This is going to be a great weekend to go fishing. Absolutely. Just get out and get back before the storms.
Great stuff, Damon. Thanks for your help and have a great weekend.
You too, bud.